Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I'm Abhishek Mukhopadhyay and with me is Renu Kataria with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates BJP Mayor's Conclave at Gandhinagar in Gujarat, urges to focus on people-centric development of cities with priority on ease of living. Election Commission seeks limits on cash donations to political parties. India and Egypt agree to identify expanding cooperation between the defense industries. Global polarization, Russia-Ukraine conflict, food and energy crisis, high on the agenda at the UN General Assembly starting today. President Draupadi Murmu clears the appointment of directors to 8 IITs. Number of domestic travellers doubled in the country the last 8 years. Death toll in lightning and rain-related incidents in Bihar rises to 36. 12 people, including 6 children, killed in an army helicopter attack on a school and a village in Myanmar. And in T20 cricket, first match of the 3-match series between India and Australia to be played at Mohali this evening. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has urged the mayors of the BJP-led municipal corporation to focus on holistic development of their cities and give priority to ease of living. Addressing a 2-day BJP mayors conclave at Gandhinagar through video conferencing, the Prime Minister asked them to work for the betterment of the cities through people's participation. He said the municipal corporations are closely connected with the day-to-day lives of the people, so it is the responsibility of the mayors to gain the trust of the citizens.
आपको भी अपने शहरों को उस स्तर पर ले जाना है कि आने वाली पीढ़ियां आपको याद करके कहें कि हाँ, हमारे शहर में एक मेयर हुआ करते थे, तब इतना बड़ा परिवर्तन आया था। सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास और सबका प्रयास, ये जो वैचारिक परिपाटी भाजपा ने अपनाई है, यही हमारे गवर्नेंस मॉडल को दूसरों से अलग करता है।
The Prime Minister asked mayors to focus on planned urban development, building economic centers, better urban transport and housing and cleanliness in their cities.
आजादी के अमृतकाल में अगले 25 वर्ष के लिए भारत के शहरी विकास का एक रोडमैप बनाने में भी इस सम्मेलन की बड़ी भूमिका है। हमारे देश के नागरिकों ने बहुत लंबे समय शहरों के विकास को लेकर भाजपा पर जो विश्वास रखा है, उसे निरंतर बनाए रखना हम सभी का दायित्व है।
Prime Minister said work on more than 1,000 kilometers of metro rail network is going on in the country.
2014 तक हमारे देश में मेट्रो नेटवर्क 250 किलोमीटर से भी कम था। आज देश में मेट्रो नेटवर्क 775 किलोमीटर से भी ज्यादा हो चुका है। 1000 किलोमीटर के नए मेट्रो रूट पर आज काम चल रहा है।
Mr. Modi said that BJP government is focusing on building smart amenities in the cities. He asked the mayors to work for the betterment of urban poor and to take the cities to a level that future generations will remember their work. Speaking on the occasion, Party President Jagat Prakash Nadda said, BJP has come into politics to serve the people, not to sit in power. He said power is a medium for us and the aim is service.
हम राजनीति में आए हैं तो सिर्फ गद्दी पर बैठने नहीं आए हैं, सत्ता पर बैठने नहीं आए हैं। सत्ता हमारे लिए माध्यम है, लक्ष्य हमारा सेवा है और उस सेवा के लिए हम सब कार्य में जुटे हैं और इसलिए सुशासन के माध्यम से किस तरीके से सामान्य जन की हम सेवा कर सकते हैं और उनको लाभ पहुंचा सकते हैं, इसके लिए हम काम करते हैं।
Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel and BJP State Unit Chief C.R. Patil were present on the occasion. More than 100 mayors and deputy mayors of the BJP-ruled municipal corporations across the country participated in the conclave. The Election Commission has sought limits on cash donations to political parties. Chief Election Commissioner Rajiv Kumar, in a letter to Law Minister Kiran Rijiju, has suggested some amendments in the Representation of the People's Act to increase transparency and accountability. The poll body has proposed to decrease the limit of anonymous political donations from 20,000 rupees to 2,000 rupees and sought to restrict cash donations at 20% or at maximum of 20 crore rupees out of the total funds received by a party. The Commission has also suggested that every candidate should open a separate bank account for election purposes, route all expenses and receipts through this account, and furnish these details in the account of election expenditure. Currently, maintaining a separate bank account for poll expenditure is part of instructions, but the poll panel wants it to become part of conduct of election rules. The proposals are aimed at bringing reforms and transparency in donations received by political parties and also the expenditure incurred by candidates.
India and Egypt have agreed to identify proposals for expanding cooperation between the defence industries of the two countries in a time-bound manner. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh held bilateral talks with his Egyptian counterpart, General Mohammad Zaki, in Cairo yesterday. Both sides discussed steps to strengthen defence ties and reached a consensus to enhance conduct of joint exercises and exchange of personnel for training, especially in the field of counter-insurgency. The two ministers also exchanged views on regional security and acknowledged the contribution of India and Egypt to peace and stability in the world. Both the ministers agreed to consolidate and focus on enhancing security and defence aspects of bilateral cooperation. They also signed an MOU on cooperation in the field of defence to pave the way for enhancing defence cooperation across all sectors of mutual interest. In a tweet, Mr. Singh said the signing of the MOU adds new impetus and synergy to the India-Egypt relations. He also invited his Egyptian counterpart to the India-Africa Defence Dialogue and IOR Defence Ministers Conclave, scheduled to be held as part of 12th Defence Expo in Gandhinagar next month. Mr. Singh also called on the President of Egypt, Mr. Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, yesterday. World leaders will begin their high-level meeting of the UN General Assembly today. Global polarization, Russia-Ukraine conflict, food and energy crisis, economic problems and natural disasters are likely to dominate the agenda. A watershed moment, transformative solutions to interlocking challenges is the theme of this year's meeting. Reform of UN Security Council is expected to get renewed attention during the meeting. It will be high on India's External Affairs Minister S. Jayashankar's agenda when he meets with leaders from around the world and when he participates in two meetings focused on the reforms. The US has signaled that President Joe Biden will present new ideas for moving the stalled reform process forward and hold wide consultations about it. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is not attending the meeting this year, and Dr. Jayashankar is scheduled to speak for India on Saturday. About 150 heads of government or state are expected at the meeting, formerly known as the General Debate of the Assembly, that is held amid high security. As the world emerged from the worst of the COVID pandemic, the high-level meeting is taking place in person after 2 years. It was all virtual in 2020 and hybrid in 2021.
On the sidelines of UN General Assembly in New York, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jayashankar held talks with his UAE, Indonesian, Egyptian and Cuban counterparts on Monday. Dr. Jayashankar reviewed the gamut of bilateral strategic partnership with the UAE Foreign Minister Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan. He also appreciated UAE Foreign Minister's assessments and insights on the global situation. In his meeting with the Foreign Minister of Indonesia, Ratno Marsudi, Dr. Jayashankar discussed issues related to bilateral ties. Dr. Jayashankar, who is on an 11-day visit to the US, met with Egyptian Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry and exchanged views on a range of key areas of cooperation. In a tweet, Dr. Jayashankar said bilateral ties between India and Egypt are growing strongly in defense, trade and investments. He said cooperation in new initiatives like green hydrogen and ammonia and education sectors will further bolster them. Dr. Jayashankar also held talks with the Foreign Minister of Cuba, Bruno Rodriguez Barilla, to strengthen ties with the island nation in the Caribbean region. Dr. S. Jayashankar also participated in the India-CELAC Quartet meeting held on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly, UNGA, in New York yesterday. CELAC stands for Community of Latin American and Caribbean States. They also discussed regional and multilateral issues of mutual interests. Both sides acknowledged their cooperation in UN and other multilateral bodies and agreed to work together on global issues, including UN reforms and climate change. In a release, the External Affairs Ministry said that both sides expressed satisfaction at revitalizing the India-CELAC Forum. They expressed happiness at the growing engagements of India with Latin American countries. They also reviewed the entire spectrum of India-CELAC relations.
President Draupadi Murmu today arrived in New Delhi from London after attending the state funeral of Queen Elizabeth II, the longest-serving monarch of the United Kingdom. She was on a 3-day visit to attend the funeral. The President was among 500 world leaders present at the funeral. You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates BJP Mayor's Conclave at Gandhinagar in Gujarat, urges to focus on people-centric development of cities with priority on ease of living. Election Commission seeks limits on cash donations to political parties. India and Egypt agreed to identify expanding cooperation between their defense industries. Global polarization, Russia-Ukraine conflict, food and energy crisis high on the agenda in the UN General Assembly starting today. President Draupadi Murmu clears the appointments of directors to 8 IITs. Number of domestic travellers doubled in the country in the last 8 years. Death toll in lightning and rain-related incidents in Bihar rises to 36. 12 people, including 6 children, killed in an army helicopter attack on a school and a village in Myanmar. And in T20 cricket, first match of the 3-match series between India and Australia to be played at Mohali this evening. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR.
सबका विश्वास और सबका प्रयास। समाज में गरीब और कमजोर तबकों के लिए सरकार की चल रही कल्याणकारी योजनाओं और कार्यक्रमों से जुड़ी जानकारी पाएं। सरकार के इन कदमों के बारे में जानें और लाभ उठाएं। आकाशवाणी पर अब सुनिए जन कल्याण के सरोकार दोपहर 3 बजे से हर शनिवार। सुनिए न्यू इंडिया समाचार आकाशवाणी के साथ।
कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम्स की तैयारी कर रहे हैं आप? तो अभ्यास कार्यक्रम है सिर्फ आपके लिए। ऑल इंडिया रेडियो की इस पेशकश में आपके भेजे सवाल व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 या ईमेल abhyas.airnews@gmail.com का जवाब एक्सपर्ट देंगे शनिवार रात 9:30 बजे। इस वर्ग का विषय है भूगोल, फिजिकल ज्योग्राफी एंड मॉनसून। प्रश्न 21 सितंबर तक हमें प्राप्त होने चाहिए। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
Welcome back to the Midday News. President Draupadi Murmu has cleared the appointments of directors to 8 Indian Institutes of Technology IITs. Professor Sheshadhari Shekhar has been appointed as Director of IIT Palakkad. Professor Shripad Karmalkar will be the new Director of IIT Bhubaneswar. Venkayapaya R. Desai has been appointed as Director IIT Dharwad. Pashumarthi Seshu has been given the responsibility of Director of IIT Goa. Rajat Muna has been named as the Director of IIT Gandhinagar. K.N. Satyanarayana will be the Director of IIT Tirupati. Rajiv Prakash, Director of IIT Bhilai. And Manoj Singh Gaur will be the new Director of IIT Jammu. Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar has said that democracy and economy flourish with transparency and accountability are reflected at each stage in our governance system. Inaugurating the 49th National Management Convention in New Delhi today, the Vice President said leaders of the industry play a critical role in improving efficiency in the economy.
Academicians, experts, they are playing critical affirmative role in shaping India's incremental trajectory in all facets in very challenging times.
Mr. Dhankar added that India is among the global leaders in use of digital technology for nearly everything from education to business to governance. On India's presidency of the G20 group, he said it will give the country another opportunity to shape the global economic and political agenda. Speaking in the same event, Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia said that the number of domestic travellers have doubled in the last 8 years in the country. He said in 2013-14, total number of domestic travellers was 73 million, which has increased to 144 million.
As far as civil aviation is concerned, the whole paradigm has changed. and therefore the demand as a sector has grown. In 2013-14, total number of travelers in India were close to 73 million. We are today at 144 million, which means that in 7-8 years, we have doubled the number of travelers. International, 13-14, we were at 37 million. We are today at 60 million.
Mr. Scindia said government is looking at smaller airports to provide last-mile connectivity. He also said government has also brought in a new helicopter policy. The aviation minister said helicopter service is also included in UDAN scheme to provide last-mile connectivity.
Finance and Corporate Affairs Minister Nirmala Sitharaman today said India is moving very fast on solar and wind energy and the government is going ahead with its commitment for promotion of renewable energy. Addressing virtually the Global FinTech Conference in Mumbai, Ms. Sitharaman said several countries are going back to coal because of the high cost of the transitional source of natural gas. She said that India too will have to get back to coal to keep the base level of energy requirement in a sustained manner. The Finance Minister said there are 4 layers through which India has brought in financial inclusion in a sustainable fashion. These layers include presence-less layer, paperless layer, cashless layer and consent layer. These are unique to India and are capturing the eyes of the world. She also said digitization of financial services have brought in those people in formal domain due to UPI who were earlier not there or did not have access. The idea of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas has been possible because of technology, the minister added. Bharatiya Janata Party has continued its attack on Aam Aadmi Party over alleged irregularities in the implementation of the Delhi excise policy. Talking to media in New Delhi today, party spokesman Gaurav Bhatia alleged that the AAP government gave a liquor contract to its assembly poll candidate Karanjit Singh Lamba, keeping aside all the rules. He said it is a new evidence of corruption by the AAP government.
L7 जोन नंबर 19 ये जो पार्टनर्स हैं यूनिवर्सल डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स के जिनको ये ठेका दिया गया है इस हस्ताक्षर में एक पार्टनर का नाम है करमजीत सिंह लांबा। ये सवाल है कि ये जब आबकारी नीति जिसको ये कहते थे बहुत अच्छी है दिल्ली के लिए जिसको ये वापस ले लेते हैं पकड़े जाने के बाद इस नीति में तो राजस्व बढ़े ये उद्देश्य होना चाहिए। कोई भी व्यक्ति आए उसको ठेका मिलना चाहिए लेकिन ये क्या हो गया करमजीत सिंह लांबा आप कैंडिडेट उसी को सारे नियमों की अनदेखी करके शराब का ठेका दे दिया जाता है।
Delhi BJP chief Adesh Gupta said it has become clear from the revelation that why the new liquor policy was brought.
क्यों शराब नीति को अचानक से लाया गया था? वो इसलिए लाया गया था क्योंकि जो कमीशन बढ़ाया है 12% उसका आधा पैसा मिले। अब पैसा वापस कैसे आए तो इसके लिए अपने आम आदमी पार्टी के कुछ खास लोगों को जो इनके विधायकों के जो उनको वहां पर पार्टनर बनाया गया और पार्टनर इसलिए बनाया गया वापस पैसा आए वो भ्रष्टाचार का पैसा जिससे वो चुनाव में भी खर्च करे।
Earlier, the party had released 2 sting operation videos over alleged irregularities in the implementation of the excise policy in Delhi.
In Bihar, number of casualties due to lightning, thunderstorm and rain-related incidents in the last 24 hours in different parts of the state have gone up to 36. 13 people, including 8 children, were injured in these incidents. Most of the dead were farmers who were on the fields when the tragedy struck. Several trees and electric poles were uprooted and supply of electricity disrupted in several parts of the state due to thunderstorm. Expressing grief of the tragedy, Chief Minister Nitish Kumar has announced an ex-gratia of 4 lakh rupees to the next of the kin of those who lost their lives. Mr. Kumar ordered free treatment to injured people. The Chief Minister appealed to people of the state to be vigilant and remain indoors during lightning. Talking to AI News, Bihar State Disaster Management Department Secretary Sanjay Kumar Agarwal said, administration is doing everything to minimize the damage.
कल एक बड़ी घटना हुई है जिसमें कुछ जगह बिजली नहीं गिरी है बल्कि बिहार के 10 जिलों में यह घटना हुई है और काफी बारिश भी हुई है। हम लोगों ने अर्ली वार्निंग सिस्टम के तहत उनको मैसेज भी देते हैं ताकि वो लोग सचेत हो जाए और हम लोग हर एक डेथ को काउंट भी करते हैं और उसको रिकॉग्नाइज भी करते हैं और इसके लिए राज्य सरकार द्वारा प्रत्येक मृतक के परिवार को 4-4 लाख रुपए की राहत की घोषणा भी की गई। गाँव में खास करके जिन इलाकों में ये घटनाएं हो रही है वहाँ पर विशेष जागरूकता अभियान भी चलाया जा रहा है। सभी के मोबाइल पर जिस एरिया में घटना होने वाली है, आजकल अर्ली वार्निंग सिस्टम के तहत आधे घंटे पहले हम लोग मैसेजिंग भी करते हैं। हम लोगों ने इस सीजन में लगभग 70 लाख लोगों को सचेत भी किया है।
In Uttar Pradesh, 4 people died and 9 injured in a wall collapse incident in Noida this morning. The incident took place in Jalvayu Bihar Society in Sector 21. Talking to reporters, Gautam Buddh Nagar District Magistrate Suhash L.Y. said the Noida authority had given contract for drainage repair work, and when labourers were pulling out bricks, the wall collapsed. Gautam Buddh Nagar Police Commissioner Alok Singh said 9 injured persons have been shifted to a hospital for treatment. He added that NDRF and fire brigade teams are conducting the last search mission. Mr. Singh also said an FIR will be lodged and action will be taken in the matter.
Over the past 75 years since independence, India's largest public service broadcaster, All India Radio, has been the proverbial storyteller for crores of people across the country. AIR is celebrating 75 years of freedom with the series Azad Bharat Ki Baat Akashvani ke Saath. The series showcases the journey of India since independence in various walks of life through the storytelling of All India Radio. In today's episode, we will bring you the story of Civil Aviation Ministry's Regional Connectivity Scheme UDAN, Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik.
Civil Aviation Ministry had launched its Regional Connectivity Scheme UDAN, Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik, on 27th of April 2017. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said this scheme aims to fulfill the aspirations of the common citizen by following the vision of Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik with an enhanced aviation infrastructure and air connectivity in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities.
हवाई यात्रा के लिए, एविएशन फील्ड के लिए विश्व में सबसे ज्यादा अवसर कहीं है तो भारत में। बहुत पहले हमारी सोच ये बनी थी कि हवाई यात्रा ने ये राजा महाराजाओं का ही विषय है। इतना बड़ा देश है, इतनी संभावनाएं हैं, विश्व का ध्यान है, एक एविएशन पॉलिसी बनाएं, कसौटी पर कसें, सारे स्टेक होल्डर्स को उसमें विश्वास में ले और नीति के आधार पर इसके एक्सपांशन की एक डिजाइन तैयार करें। मुझे खुशी है कि आजादी के बाद पहली बार देश में एविएशन पॉलिसी बनाने का सौभाग्य हमारी सरकार को मिला। एविएशन को मैं किस रूप में देखता हूँ, गरीब व्यक्ति की एक पहचान है, वो हवाई चप्पल पहनता है कि मैं चाहता हूँ कि हवाई जहाज में हवाई चप्पल वाले लोग दिखाई दे, और आज ये संभव हो रहा है।
The scheme was designed to jumpstart the regional aviation market, improving viability of regional air connectivity by making flying affordable for the common populace. UDAN 2 focuses on hilly areas in northeastern and island states. UDAN 3 focuses on seaplanes operations to develop water aerodromes. UDAN 4 focuses on shorter routes to facilitate the development of regional hubs. In the last 5 years, UDAN has significantly increased the regional air connectivity in the country. There were 74 operational airports in 2014. Because of the UDAN scheme, this number has increased to 141 by now. 68 underserved or unserved destinations have been connected under UDAN scheme. With 425 new routes initiated under the scheme, UDAN has provided air connectivity to more than 29 states and union territories across the length and breadth of the country. More than 1 crore passengers have availed the benefits of this scheme as on 4th of August 2022. The scheme has also provided a much-needed platform to regional carriers to scale up their operations. UDAN has played a great role in transformation of Indian aviation industry. This scheme has benefited a diverse set of stakeholders. Passengers have got the benefits of air connectivity. Airlines have received concessions for operating regional routes. Unserved regions have received the direct and indirect benefits of air connectivity for their economic development. Lifeline UDAN initiative commenced in March 2020 during COVID-19 period, and it helped to operate 588 flights transporting almost 1,000 tons of cargo and essential medical services to various parts of the country. Krishi UDAN scheme was launched in August 2020 on international and national routes to assist farmers in transporting agricultural products so that it improves their value realization.
Azad Bharat Ki Baat Akashvani ke Saath can be accessed on @AIR News Alerts on Twitter, News on AIR official YouTube channel, News on AIR app, Facebook and Instagram handles. So tune into All India Radio News for Azad Bharat Ki Baat, Akashvani ke saath. Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde has given approval for constitution of a subcommittee on Maratha reservation. The subcommittee, comprising 6 members, will be headed by State Higher and Technical Education Minister Chandrakant Patil. The members will include State Revenue Minister Radhakrishna Vikhe Patil, Rural Development Minister Girish Mahajan, Minister for Ports Dada Bhuse, Excise Minister Shambhuraj Desai and Industries Minister Uday Samant. The subcommittee will take necessary legislative action on the report received from the State Backward Class Commission on the community's social, educational and economic condition.
More than 216 crore 83 lakh vaccine doses have been administered so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. Over 13 lakh 10,000 doses were administered in the last 24 hours. The recovery rate is currently at 98.71%. As many as 4,000 people recovered in the last 24 hours. Over 4,900 new cases were recorded in the last 24 hours. In Myanmar, 12 people, including 6 children, were killed in an army helicopter attack on a school and a village. According to local media, 17 other people were also injured when an army helicopter shot at a school in north-central Myanmar. The school administrator said she was trying to get children to safety when government Mi-35 gunships opened fire on the school. In a statement, the military said that it opened fire because rebels were using the building to attack its forces. The incident occurred last Friday in the village of Let Yet Korn in the central Sargang region, the details of which emerged on Monday via a school administrator and an aid worker.
In Iran, massive anti-hijab protests continue after a 22-year-old woman, Mahsa Amini, died in her custody after being detained by the official moral police. Her death sparked protests in the capital and western Iran, where 2 people were reportedly killed in clashes with riot police yesterday. Video footages of the protests show the furious women protesters seen cutting their hair and burning hijabs in a bid to fight against the mandatory veiling of women. The women have united against what they say is a gender apartheid regime and are demanding their basic rights. Meanwhile, Tehran's police chief says the death of a woman in custody was an unfortunate incident and it should not be repeated. In T20 cricket, the first match of the 3-match series between India and Australia will be played in Mohali this evening. The match starts at 7:30 p.m. After the series against Australia, India will play South Africa in a 3-match ODI and 3-match T20 series from 28th of this month. In women's football, Bangladesh has lifted its maiden SAF championship title, defeating Nepal 3-1 in the final at Kathmandu yesterday. The Sensex and the Nifty today climbed around 1.5% in the afternoon trade. Both indices gained in sync with gains in the global share markets. The Sensex were trading above the 60,000 mark, while the Nifty was trading near 17,900 level. The Sensex rose 871 points to trade at 60,012. The Nifty also surged 267 points to trade at 17,890. In the forex market, the rupee also appreciated 4 paise to trade at 79 rupees and 73 paise against the US dollar in afternoon deals.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates BJP Mayor's Conclave at Gandhinagar in Gujarat, urges to focus on people-centric development of cities with priority on ease of living. Election Commission seeks limits on cash donations to political parties. India and Egypt agree to identify expanding cooperation between the defense industries. Global polarization, Russia-Ukraine conflict, food and energy crisis high on the agenda in the UN General Assembly starting today. President Draupadi Murmu clears the appointments of directors to 8 IITs. Number of domestic travellers doubled in the country in the last 8 years. Death toll in lightning and rain-related incidents in Bihar rises to 36. 12 people, including 6 children, killed in an army helicopter attack on a school and a village in Myanmar. And in T20 cricket, first match of the 3-match series between India and Australia to be played at Mohali this evening. And with that, we end the Midday News.